why she feels you, even when you're not there. Have you ever walked into a room and felt like someone was still there? Like the air still held their voice, like the silence still remembered them? That's the echo. And here's the craziest part. You can make her feel that about you. No texting, no chasing, no trying to prove anything. Yet, she still thinks about you. Why? It's because you left something behind that can't be touched. You left a feeling. You left space. And that space, it makes her wonder. It makes her curious. It makes her feel you, even when you're nowhere around. Now listen closely, because this might sound wild. But being there all the time, it's not what keeps you in her heart. Nope. It's when you're not there. When the phone doesn't ring. When your name doesn't pop up. When she realizes she misses the peace, the mystery, the energy you brought. That's when the echo begins. And this isn't about playing games. This isn't about ignoring her to get attention. Number. This is about living your life so deeply, so fully, that when you walk away for a moment, the air still whispers your name. She starts asking questions in her mind. Where is he? What is he doing? Why am I thinking about him again? That right there, that's power, real power. The kind that doesn't shout, the kind that lingers, the kind that doesn't need to chase. Because it's already unforgettable. And guess what? This is just the beginning. Let me show you how to become the man she can't stop thinking about. Even in silence, even in distance, even in the echo. Wait, why didn't he text back? Boom, just like that. Her mind starts racing, not because you were rude, not because you ghosted her, but because you didn't explain yourself. You didn't say, sorry, I was busy. You didn't say, I'll text you later. You just lived your life. And guess what? That's rare. That's mysterious. That's attractive. Most guys, they spill their whole life out in a text bubble. They want her to know everything. Hey, just letting you know I'm heading to the gym. Then I'll shower. Then I'll call you. Sounds sweet, right? But it kills the mystery. It destroys the magic. Now don't get me wrong. Being kind is good. But always explaining yourself? Always updating her like you're some tracking number on a package? That doesn't make her wonder. That makes her bored. You want to be the man she thinks about. The man who says less, but means more. So when she texts and you don't reply right away, she starts thinking, did I say something wrong? Is he losing interest? Why does this bother me so much? That's when you know. You've left the echo. And what does that echo say? It says, I don't owe you all my time. It says, I have a life. It says you'll feel me, even in silence. See, most men chase women because they fear the silence. But silence, when used the right way, becomes your secret weapon. It's the space where desire grows, where her imagination starts running wild, where you become bigger than just a guy with a phone. You become a mystery, and women don't chase answers. They chase mystery, always have, always will. You want her to feel something deep, powerful, unforgettable. Stop explaining. Start existing. Because the moment you stop trying to prove, you start to pull. He's not even trying. So why can't I stop thinking about him? Let me tell you something wild. The man she can't stop thinking about is the one who doesn't try to make her think about him. Yeah. Read that again. He's not blowing up her phone. He's not sending good morning texts every day. He's not asking, "Did you miss me?" He's just living. Fully, boldly, calmly. And that's exactly why she feels his presence, even when he's not there. You see, there's something powerful about a man who doesn't need her attention. He likes her, sure. He may even care deeply. But he doesn't need her to fill some hole in his heart. He's already full. That kind of man. He walks differently, talks differently, feels different, and women sense it. They can tell when a man is trying too hard to win them. It smells like desperation. It tastes like weakness. It pushes them away. But when a man is whole on his own, when his life is already good without her, she wants to be part of it. Why? Because it doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like peace. And peace is addictive. He's the man who reads books, works on his dreams, keeps his body strong, and walks with purpose. He doesn't revolve around women. He builds a world and invites her into it. And if she doesn't come, that's okay too, because his life isn't on pause, waiting for her approval. It's moving. It's growing. It's magnetic. And she feels that energy like a pulse, even in silence, even from a distance. That's the invisible power of detachment. Not playing games, not acting cold. It's just this. I choose you, but I don't need you. And that's what makes her want you. Over and over again, with no explanation needed. Why is he so hard to read? And why do I love it? Let's break something down that nobody talks about. Women don't crave what's easy. They don't chase what's always there. They don't dream about the guy who's always available. They dream about the man they can't quite figure out. Why? Because when you're hard to read, when you don't spill everything, when you don't show up at her feet every time she blinks, you trigger something deep inside her. Curiosity. And curiosity, it's powerful. It's like a little fire in her chest. It makes her think about you when you're gone. It makes her wonder what you're doing, who you're with, and why you're not texting first. But here's the secret. That mystery, it's not something you pretend. It's not about faking silence or acting cold. It's what happens when you actually have something better to do, like building your business, like hitting the gym, like chasing your dreams, like mastering your peace. You become scarce, not because you're playing games, but because your life is too full to be everywhere, all the time, for everyone. Scarcity creates value. Think about gold. It's rare, so it's wanted. Think about diamonds. Hard to find, so they're precious. Now think about the man who doesn't give his energy to just anyone. Think about you. You living with purpose. You unavailable to drama. You present but not pressing. That version of you, that's the version she can't stop thinking about. Because you're not chasing her. You're building something bigger. And that space you create, it echoes, it lingers. It pulls her in without a single word. That's the invisible power of being unavailable. Not because you're avoiding her, but because you finally showed up for yourself. how he stayed silent and still took over her mind. Have you ever seen a man walk into a room, say nothing, do nothing flashy, but somehow everyone feels him? There's no loud voice, no big show, no look at me energy, just quiet strength. That's emotional mastery, and it's one of the most powerful things a man can ever learn. Now listen closely. Most guys think they need to prove how they feel. They over-explain. They overreact. They try to fix everything right away, just so she doesn't leave. But guess what? That panic, that emotional chasing, it kills attraction. Because here's what women really want. A man who stays calm in chaos. A man who doesn't lose himself when she pulls away. A man who knows that feelings are felt, not flung around. She wants to feel safe in your stillness. She wants to trust your silence more than someone else's shouting. That's the power of emotional control. It's not about being a cold robot. No. It's about feeling everything, but choosing when to speak, choosing when to move, choosing to stay centered, even when she tests you. Because she will test you. She'll ask questions that don't make sense. She'll push buttons just to see what breaks. She'll create little storms just to see if you'll sink. And when you don't, when you stand there, solid, like a mountain, that's when she feels it, that calm storm inside you. It makes her feel safe. It makes her feel seen. It makes her feel something she doesn't feel with most men. Respect. So don't flinch. Don't chase. Don't beg. Just breathe. Be still. And let your calm shake her world louder than any words ever could. The less you do, the more she feels it. Have you ever noticed something strange? When you're everywhere, people stop seeing you. But the second you're gone, boom, you're all they think about. Weird, right? But that's scarcity. And it's one of the most powerful forces in the world of attraction. Let's break this down in a way that hits hard. Imagine this. There's a candy machine at school. Everyone walks past it every day. Candy's always there, always full, always cheap. Nobody's excited about it. Why? Because it's too easy. But now picture this. One day someone says, that candy only shows up once a week. Suddenly, everybody wants it. Why? Because it's rare. And rare feels valuable. Now here's the twist most men miss. You are the candy machine when you're always texting, always calling, always showing up the second she breathes. You become too easy, too expected, too common. But when you prioritize yourself, when you're focused on your work, your body, your goals, your time becomes rare, and suddenly your presence feels like a gift. Your attention feels like a reward. And your absence, it echoes in her mind like a mystery. But isn't that mean? You might ask. No way. It's not about ignoring her. It's about honoring yourself, living your life in such a powerful, full way that you don't have to push. You don't have to chase. You pull her in. Just by being. That's what real attraction is. She doesn't want a man who's always available. She wants a man who's doing something important. Someone with a mission so strong that when he makes time for her, she feels chosen. So here's the move. Stop making her your main focus. She can't read you, and that drives her wild. Let's talk about something almost no one teaches you as a man. It's not how you look. It's not what you say. It's how you stay calm when everything's on fire. Ever seen a guy freak out over a simple text? Or spiral when she takes a little longer to reply? Yeah, she sees that too. And guess what? It makes her run. But now imagine you. Something unexpected happens. She pulls away a little. Instead of chasing, panicking, or sending 5 follow-up messages, you breathe. You think. You stay still. Now suddenly, she's curious. Why isn't he reacting? Does he not care? Or is he just different? Boom. That's emotional mastery. See, most guys are like leaves in the wind. One little gust, they fly all over the place. But you're like a mountain, solid, grounded, unshakable. And do you know what happens when a woman feels that steady, deep calm? She lets go. She melts. She starts to trust you without even knowing why. Because in her world, so many men are emotionally wild. Too eager, too insecure, too reactive. But a man who can pause, think, and feel without losing control. That man feels safe. That man feels strong. And it's not about hiding your feelings either. Nope. It's about leading them. You guide your emotions. They don't guide you. So how do you build that inner peace? You practice presence. You slow down before you speak. You listen to yourself when you're upset. But you choose when and how to respond, like a king. And here's the magic trick. When she can't predict your every move, when she sees you're not desperate for approval, she starts leaning in. Not because you're playing a game, but because you're playing at a higher level. So next time you feel that pull to overreact, pause, breathe, smile inside. Because that moment of calm, that's the moment she starts to feel you deeply. The man who stays calm controls the room. And the man who controls the room controls her heart. She doesn't know what you're thinking, and that's driving her crazy. Let me ask you something. Have you ever read a book but couldn't stop thinking about the next chapter? Your mind just kept spinning, wondering what happens next. That's exactly what happens when you become a mystery. Now listen closely. Most guys, they lay it all out right away. They show every emotion. They explain every thought. They text every hour. They give her the full map of who they are, way too fast. And what happens? There's no excitement, no suspense, no reason for her to chase, because there's nothing left to discover. But you know the power of ambiguity. You don't overshare. You don't explain every mood. You don't rush to fill every silence. And guess what? She starts wondering, what's he thinking right now? Why doesn't he text like the others? Why do I feel like there's more to him, but I can't quite figure it out? See, you're not being cold. You're just being complex. You're not playing games. You're playing chess. You speak with meaning. You share, but slowly. You let her feel the space between the words. And that space becomes emotionally magnetic. Why? Because the human brain craves closure. And when she doesn't get it from you, she keeps coming back for more. She replays your words. She rewatches your moves. She studies your silences. And over time, that little gap you leave, it becomes a hook in her mind. It's not about being confusing. It's about being deep. You're a puzzle with no easy answers. You're the story that keeps unfolding. You're the echo she keeps chasing. Because the moment she thinks she has you, you've already moved on to another level. So remember this: the man who is fully known too fast is forgotten even faster. But the man who makes her wonder, he becomes the one she never stops thinking about. Stay mysterious, stay unpredictable, be the storm behind the calm smile, and she'll chase the feeling of you. Long after you've left the room, you didn't flinch. And that's when she felt it. Picture this. She says something sharp, something cold. Maybe she's testing you. Maybe she's trying to see if she can get under your skin. And what do most men do? They react. They get upset. They defend. They chase. They bleed emotion all over the place. But you sit still, calm, grounded, unshaken. Not because you're cold, but because you've trained yourself to feel without being ruled by it. That blows her mind. Why? Because women are used to seeing men fold under pressure. They're used to emotional chaos, outbursts, panic, confusion. But when a man holds his peace, when he feels deeply but still stays grounded, it makes her feel something very powerful. It makes her feel safe. She starts to think, wait, why doesn't he lose control like other guys? What does he know that I don't? How can someone be so calm and yet so intense at the same time? Here's the secret. You're not a slave to feelings. You own them. You let them pass through you, but you don't act out of them. That's not weakness. That's masculine power. It's strength with softness. It's heat without the explosion. It's the eye of the storm, where she feels something she can't explain. And the wild part, you don't need to say much. You don't need a long speech. You don't need to argue or prove your point. Your energy does the talking. Your stillness says everything. She feels it in her body. She senses your control. She sees your strength, not in your muscles, but in your mind. This is emotional mastery, not shutting off, but shining from within. And that glow, that inner fire that never flickers, it keeps her coming back. Because in a world full of noise and neediness, you're the rare man she can't shake. The one who stands firm when everything else falls apart. You didn't flinch. And that one moment, it echoed louder than words ever could. She can't stop thinking about you, but you've barely said a word. Imagine this. You're not the loudest guy in the room. You don't brag or try too hard. You don't chase attention like a spotlight. Yet somehow, she can't get you out of her mind. She's replaying moments where you barely spoke, but everything you did said so much. Why? Because true confidence isn't about showing off. It's quiet, it's calm, it's invisible, but unforgettable. This kind of confidence comes from deep inside, from knowing who you are, from trusting your own worth, without needing her approval or anyone else's. When you carry that energy, it's magnetic. It pulls her in without a single chase. She notices it in how you walk, in how you listen more than you talk, in the way you smile just enough, like you're holding a secret she wants to discover. You don't beg for her attention. You own your space, your time, your life. And that makes you rare, precious. Here's the magic. The less you try to be someone else, the more you become the man she can't stop thinking about. You don't have to text her first every time. You don't have to prove yourself. You just live your life fully. And that invisible power, that quiet confidence, echoes in her mind like a song she can't forget. She chases the feeling you give her. Not because you said it, but because you are it. That's the invisible power of ambiguity. And once she feels it, she never forgets you.